Happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Gotta point out, I have been running around all day. It has been crazy. Crazy start to my week. Today is Monday, February 4th, 2019. This is episode 240 of The Daily Dope. So if you have not caught the show before, let me point out this is very, very casual. Just basically talking about tabletop gaming. Once in a while I'll do a little geek culture stuff, but normally it's tabletop games. Do unboxings or first looks, do some reviews. So today's going to be a little bit different. Because I've been running around so much, I did not really have a chance to put together any news. So no news tonight. And I know for some folks you'll be like, yay, because you don't like the news segment. But I do. Hey, Paul Nolan's popping in. Good evening to you too, Paul. I guess that leads me to point out that there is chat available. This is a live show on YouTube. I know, excuse me, a vast majority of people catch the show after the fact, but it is live. There is chat on YouTube. If you want to say hello, feel free to say howdy. If you have a question, fire away. Or if you'd like me to take a closer look at something here tonight with Coriolis, Emissary Lost. This is the first hardcover supplement release, I believe, for Coriolis from Free League Publishing and Modiphius Entertainment. So we are going to take a look at that. That just arrived. And feel free, pop in, say hello. So Paul says, I like your segments. You know, most people like the news when I do the news. It's just, usually what'll happen is the people who like something don't normally say anything. It's the ones who don't like something. They're always complaining, get off my lawn. You know how that goes. So anyway, so before I jump into taking a look at Emissary Lost for Coriolis, watched Super Bowl last night. I don't know. I didn't find it too exciting. I mean, it wasn't horrible because, gotta remember, I'm from the Chicago area. My Chicago Bears, 85 Bears, they were built on defense, right? So I like good defensive struggles, but I don't know. The defenses were good, but then the offenses were out of sync too. So it was pretty slow. But I have to admit, 2 out of the 3 bets that I basically floated out there on Twitter prior to the game, it was in the afternoon, came through. I said bet the under, and I said take the prop bet where more points will be scored in the second half than in the first. Of course, I also said take the Rams, but oh well. Anyway, yes, Paul says he remembers that 85 Bears team. Boy, that was what was that? 46-10 was the final on that the Bears put the shellacking on the now Dynasty Saints, or I shouldn't say Saints, Patriots. See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm sitting there thinking, those Saints would have probably given the Patriots a better run for their money. Anywho, what can you say? All right, so I want to point out what's coming up on shows this week. Got a jam-packed week ahead. Got a lot of goodies going on. This is in case, what I've got set up. As long as something doesn't pop up out of nowhere in the mail that somebody's like, oh, please get this out there right away. So tomorrow's show, I am going to be reviewing Scorpius Freighter, which I did an unboxing. It's been a while ago. It was about a month ago that I did the unboxing for Scorpius Freighter. Finally have gotten enough plays of this in, so I will be reviewing it on tomorrow's show. Wednesday, it's Wargame Wednesday. I'm going to unbox and take a first look at Platoon Commander Deluxe, the Battle of Kursk. Some people say Kursk. I've always ran across videos where movies I always call it Kursk. Don't know. I never lived there. Haven't been there. So this is actually available for sale right now, I believe, over on the Flying Pig Games website. This just went up for sale, that you can now purchase it. It was a pre-order prior. So that's on War Game Wednesday. Thursdays, I love doing RPGs. So on Thursday's show, I'm going to be reviewing the 2 hardcover releases. I know there's an adventure supplement, like a campaign supplement. I did not receive that from Ulysses North America, but I did get the Living Land source book as well as the Delphi Council adventures. And these are for Torg Eternity. Give you a hint, really good stuff for the source book. I'll leave you in the dark as far as the Delphi missions. Anyway, so that's on Thursday's show. Friday's show, I'm finally, so I got all this stuff piled up here. Finally going to review The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31 from USAopoly and Mondo Ray Gun. So if you are a fan of John Carpenter's movie The Thing, you will want to take a peek at the review. Now, there is another board game, and I want to say, trying to remember, can't remember the name. It's a short story. Well, maybe a novella length that The Thing is actually based on, or the old 50s movie was The Thing from Another Planet, right? Wasn't that it? But it's from like 1936. And I believe the other game, I don't think it's out yet. I think it was out on Kickstarter not long ago. This new game will actually kind of focus on that novel, which, interestingly enough, if you are a fan of John Carpenter's The Thing, all those character names like McCready are in that short story or novella, which I don't recall the 50s horror movie. I don't recall them actually being like Niles and, McCready and things like that. So, interestingly enough, but at least we know that Infection at Outpost 31 is out. It's been out for a while. I think it's been out for a little more than a year. So, finally got to play some more of that over the weekend. Man, a week from today, I got a lot of reviews. I'm going to review Master of Wills. Yes, so I did an unboxing of this not too long ago. This is from Stormcrest Games. It's another company that is part of the Game Salute umbrella. So I will be taking care of that as well. So that is what's cooking for this week as well as into next week, as long as something, incredible and demanding of attention shows up in the mail, which might happen. You never know. There should be a slew of war games arriving that I might actually end up doing an entire war game week, which, of course, my war game coverage is sponsored by Flying Pig Games and Tiny Battle Publishing. All right, one last thing before I jump into my first look at Coriolis Emissary Lost is, you probably already know if you watch the show, if you like the Gaming Gang, if you like the Daily Dope, please support Lil Bub and Lil Bub's Big Fund at the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, because I no longer do this as far as any sort of a money-making venture. So any funds that come in outside of operating costs is donated to Lil Bub's Big Fund. So, also want to mention, too, if you happen to make a donation to the ASPCA, shoot me an email. My email address is right there in the bottom corner. Just let me know. And I'm not going to make you send me copies of, receipts or emails or anything like that. Just let me know that you did it. I will definitely make sure to give you a shout out on the next show. All right. Let's see what's Paul saying here. Great. The new ones coming out. Reminds me of the 80s with countless cardboard counter war games. Not so bad. I don't think Kursk is going to be there's going to be counters, but they're going to be bigger, because that's one of the things with Flying Pig Games now, is that the counters are big and chunky. They're 1-inch counters that are easy to read, which I appreciate. Yes, good old reading specs, which I'm going to pop on for Coriolis in just a second. All right, so let's pop on over. Usually at this point, I'll say, oh, hey, you can get this is from Free League Publishing and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I got to pull this up. It's FriaLigan.se. Because honestly, I do not know what this hardcover is going for right now. Yes, I need it in English, please. I'm guessing it's probably about $39, around $40 here. Go to the store. I'm sitting here like surfing the web. And all people are seeing is me just like staring into the camera. So there's a method to my madness here, though, because I'm trying to see. Okay, so $40.05. Okay, so the reason why I mentioned that is, let me bring this back up so I can see what's going on with me. There we go. The reason why I mentioned this is because, come on, there we go. Right now, this week, to celebrate the release of Emissary Lost, you can go to Drive-Thru RPG, which I do want to point out, if you're not familiar with the show, the Gaming Gang, thus the Daily Dope, is an affiliate of Drive-Thru RPG and the One Bookshelf sites. So if you go make a purchase, if you follow our banners, then I get a little tiny piece of that sale. The reason why I want to mention this is because for this week only, over on Drive-Thru RPG, Coriolis and many of the releases, because I know there's quite a few I think there are like 4 or 5 supplements that are available in PDF, as well as Emissary Lost. I don't think they're all available in physical books, but you can save up to 75%. So right now, you can actually score the core book, which I just reviewed last week, wasn't it? Yeah, it was last week. So many games, I forget when I did what. But it's really good. Really enjoyed it. It's different. That's why I like. And I like the Free League kind of. What do they call it? I believe they call it Year One system. It's their 6-sided die based system. I think it's got enough crunch to make it interesting, but it's easy enough for most people to grasp pretty quickly. Anyway, you can get the core book for $6.75. It's either $6.75 or $6.25, which is a pretty smoking deal because the PDF is normally $24.99. So it's only for this week to celebrate Emissary Lost's release. So, of course, if you are going to go over to Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our drive-thru banners. And as I mentioned, that way, if you do make any kind of purchase, a little tiny portion. And honestly, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. Usually, amazingly enough, it pays for the hosting every month. And last month, it actually left us a couple of bucks left over to donate to Lil Bub's Big Fun, which I am going to talk about the auction that I didn't put it up yet. I'm going to talk about that on Wednesday because it's a war game related. All right, so let's move on over to the other camera here. So we've got Coriolis, Emissary Lost. This is, I believe this is kind of a campaign because it says Mercy of the Icons Part 1. This is a pretty good-sized supplement. It is not as the page count is not as high as the core book, but we're still looking at reality here, 229. So I believe we've got 3 adventures in this. I am going to page through. We're actually going to page through. We're going to look at the whole book. Show's going to be a little quicker than usual, a little shorter than usual because there's no news, but going to kind of float on through here, and chat disappeared. All right, so let me grab a quick sip here. No joke. So I mentioned Yeah, of course I'm going to kind of go off off topic again. So I mentioned how I was running around all day. No joke. I was actually finishing dinner down here before the show started. I mean, within a couple. Now I got mustard on my finger. I mean, I'm talking like 2 minutes before I went live. I was finishing my last bite. In fact, I still had some leftover I didn't finish, but yeah, that's how crazy it's been today. Just running all over. I had my cardiovascular rehab again. I guess I've got like 3 weeks left of that, and then I'll be done. All right, so I threw on the old reading specs so I can see from a distance here. Ozone Plaza is silent. Only a low murmur is heard from the crowds huddling around the info, the hollow screens in the souk. Yet it heralds a gathering storm. The air is thick with anticipation as you make your way toward the nearest terminal. A reporter on the hollow screens speaks gravely. The emissary from Zine has disappeared. Street reporters call it the Mysticides. Scores of mystics have been found dead or disappeared without a trace. Who is hunting the mystics of Coriolis and why? When a friend of the player characters disappears, it becomes personal. Can they solve the mystery before it is too late? I don't know. Somebody disappears. That's like an age-old hook, isn't it? Emissary, I'm not like passing judgment. I'm just saying that's an age-old hook. Emissary Lost is first part in the epic Mercy of the Icons campaign for the award-winning Coriolis, the Third Horizon role-playing game. The struggle for the Horizon has started. Only the Icons themselves know how it will end. Contains a detailed background of the events and plots that threaten the balance of the Third Horizon. In the wake of the Martyr, an investigative scenario based on Coriolis Station, the hunt for clues will bring the characters to the bustling Ozone Plaza, to the decadent elites in the Spire, and deep down into the darkness of the cellar. The Kuan Connection, second scenario in the book, takes the characters down to the surface of planet Kua. There, they follow a trail of blood through the jungles, immerse themselves in the violent politics of the Xenothian colonies, and search for answers in the shadow of the mighty monolith. Number of maps and handouts depicting Coriolis Station, Planet Kua, and important documents. A scenario generator that can be used to provide countless hours of play once the pre-made scenarios are complete. And little typo here. It's like they left off the E and okay, all right. So it's all right. I always point out. Here we go. Let's jump on in. Let's get our bookmark out. There we go. Got the bookmark. Always point out, I love these books that are produced over in Europe. Ulysses North America, as well as Modiphius Entertainment, and of course Free League. Their hardcovers and that are produced in conjunction with Modiphius. Really, really like the quality of these books. Thankfully, here in the U.S., a lot of companies have kind of jumped into that same sort of quality there, but it's just can't really compare them. I mean, it's usually the cardstock, or not cardstock, paper stock, I should say, that kind of sets these apart. They tend to usually have some really nice, thick paper stock. I'm looking around here. Do we want to do? Let's try this. Because we're pulling up some glare again. But usually I can get rid of some of the glare if I kind of angle the book a little bit. So let's see. Let's move it over a little bit so my mug isn't cutting too much off. I don't know. Is that more? No, there's a little less. Looks like a little less. Okay, so let's pop on in here. So you got the introduction. We got a background. Do want to point out, of course, if you are a player, you probably will not want to be watching this episode. Because honestly, this is the first time I've cracked this open. But I'm sure we're going to see a couple of items in here that are going to be a little spoiler-ish. So we got the introduction here, the overview. Wake of the Martyr, Quant Connection, and Aftermath. So we got some GM tips. The Mercy of the Icons campaign is structured as a classic RPG epic, but you and your group are encouraged to tailor the scenarios to fit your playing style. The scenarios are pretty straightforward, but you are free to alter the timelines and the order of the scenes as you please. Okay, so taking a look through here. Like the artwork. I dig the artwork for Coriolis. It's a little different. So we got Wake of the Martyr. Friends, we have arrived. We are the answer to your prayers. When the night is closing in, we are the light of peace. Friends. If you are not familiar with Coriolis, I would definitely recommend that you take a peek at my review. Because I did point out a lot of people, and I do see it, but I don't think it's as heavily influenced by the Arabian Nights as other people have kind of said, but it does have a Middle Eastern flavor to the setting itself. I have to be really, oh, hey! Nefarious Cole is in. I have to be really careful with Ulysses' new Wrath and Glory 40K hardback due to the thinness of the paper. I was a little surprised myself by that. So yeah, I was a little surprised that the paper stock for that book was a little bit thinner than, say, Dark Eye, like the Dark Eye books. Although I don't have the core book in that size, I've got a little digest size. Okay, so we're taking a look at Coriolis Station here. Talking about the Ozone Plaza. Anyway, I had mentioned in my review that I think some folks, especially in North America, might be kind of shying away from Coriolis because they hear this like Middle Eastern thing, and like, oh well, it's kind of like a Middle Eastern kind of vibe to it, and it's not what you think. And I've pointed out before, it's not Islamic or anything like that. If you feel that's a problem, personally, I don't, but. It is very cool, very different. That's one thing that I have to point out that I usually look for when I'm taking a look at core systems is this just the same old that's just rehashed with maybe a few new wrinkles in it? Outside of the system being based on the year one system, I should say, there's a lot of kind of cool, offbeat kind of stuff to this. The Emissary's last song. All right. Do want to also point out the Third Horizon is an exciting, adventurous setting. It is not necessarily a grim, dark setting. It is not something that's going to be, granted, you can tailor the game to however you and your players enjoy playing, but it is not super crunchy as far as the combat system, and it is not a game that is real heavy towards combat encounters. It is, like many recent role-playing games, kind of scene-based as well. So, actually, it was kind of funny. I got into this kind of a little back and forth with the designer of the Black Hack, which is an old-school role-playing game, fantasy role-playing. It's pretty popular, and it's basically like BX / first edition D&D, kind of boiled down to the core, to the essence, right? So it gets rid of a lot of extra rule fiddliness and things like that, rule bloat. But it was kind of funny. It was sort of like, so how do you look at what is old school? And I had replied that, hey, to me, comparing old school role-playing games to modern era role-playing games, old school role-playing games, the story evolves from the player's actions, how they tackle various different aspects of the adventure. That's where the story emerges. That's where the plot emerges. Normally in an old school adventure, which were usually called modules, the finale is not just like something that's all plotted out and says, oh, well, this will happen and that happens. And if the players do this and the monsters do this or the big bad does that. It was pretty much, hey, here's the big bad. Here's some things that the big bad might do. If you were lucky, you actually had that info. Otherwise, you had to kind of just, as a game master, you had to create it on the fly. Whereas these days, it's all kind of like, well, this is the plot. This is how the story goes. And regardless of what your players really do, you're still going to get to this conclusion. So that, to me, is kind of the difference between old school and new school. All right, so Nefarious says the Mideastern flavor is mostly just in the names and descriptions. Yeah, and it's the clothing style, right? The Icon's religion is actually a polytheist, more akin to Game of Thrones. Yeah, right. Okay, right. There you go. So yes, it's not Islam in space. Hey, there you go. Well, Nefarious, we've come up with a new role-playing game. We're gonna create Islam in space. But yeah, I would definitely agree that it's just a flavor. It's not, like I said, it's just kind of a Middle Eastern vibe to it. It's not like, wow, on Coriolis Station, 5 times a day, everybody's got to get on their knees, and no, it's nothing like that. All right, so we've got a few different acts in the Wake of the Martyr, which is the first adventure. So we got 3 acts. Yep. Okay, so we got 3 acts here. Okay, so they're back on Coriolis Station, it looks like. Quite a lot of art. I'm a little surprised. Quite a lot of art in this so far. One thing I mentioned in the review for the core book is I'm glad that Free League and Modiphius did not go with the I hate to say it because I really think it's a cool system, the Star Trek Adventures. So I think it's really, really well done. I think there's 4 more books coming in April for it. 4 more supplements. But they have the white on the black throughout the whole book. And I get it. Okay, it's outer space, yeah. But after a while, reading that makes your eyes really tired. This isn't so bad because we see a little bit of the white on black, but it's not, most of the info is contained in these text blocks. So, although I must admit, presenting it like this actually does cut down on the amount of text on a page. But you are getting a good amount of content, it looks like. Looks a little shifty, huh? So we're still in the 3rd act here. The Martyr's Embrace. Oh, those look like monsters here. All right, let's kind of skip past that. Don't want to give too much away. So then we got to send the NPCs, different events. There you go. Looks like we got some. It's like maybe we've got a set piece battle at the end of this 3rd act. So we got the ending, the aftermath. All right, now we get into the second part. I have to be honest, I do not know how many parts to this big campaign there will be. For some strange reason, I have a feeling, and I don't know anything about this. I just have a feeling that it might be 3 books. Yep, the 2D20 system. So, yeah, the career path like they have in Mutant Chronicles 3E. Yeah, right. That was pretty Traveler-like without some of the frustrations of rolling up a character in Traveler. So, I don't know. Okay, so here's, once again, getting off topic a little bit. I like GDW, always had. Game Design Workshop was just, hell, you had Frank Chadwick, for crying out loud. I used to get just tons and tons of GDW stuff. And I had Traveler, and I had the original little black box, and I was picking up all the other little digest-sized books. I gotta be honest, I don't know why, because I never really... That Traveler never really drew me in. It was a little too... What's the word I'm looking for? Not that I like a game to be extremely verbose. I think it was just a little too stark. It was just a little too cut and dried, which was a little different than what I had been used to. Picked up some of the Mongoose 2nd edition stuff. I hear good and bad. About that. Years ago at one of the Gen Cons, when Elliot was still part of the gaming gang, we talked to Mongoose, and they were nice enough, but I don't know. The thing I hear about Mongoose is that, which I guess is a problem with some companies, because there's a war game company I could pull right off the top of my head, which I'm not going to say. I think one of the strikes against Mongoose is that it's almost as if they don't actually play test anything. They don't really do a lot of editing, so it's kind of like, well, here you go. Oh, sorry, it's broken. Don't know what to tell you. So Paul says he likes the new Mongoose stuff. Cool. I have not seen that. Oh, that's kind of funny. Paul says it was not a space opera 2. Okay, so I'm so old school. I had FGU, which I can't, Fantasy Games Unlimited. For a second I was going to say I don't remember what it stood for, but I think it stood for Fantasy Games Unlimited, which Bushido was an excellent role-playing game. They had Space Opera, was like their science fiction game. I had that. I tell people all the time, if I had all the role-playing game stuff that I had when I was a teenager in high school, even in my 20s, I probably wouldn't have to work, because I had so much stuff that is so long out of print. Okay, so we are actually in the second adventure. We're in Act 2 as I'm flipping through here, talking about other games, other stuff. Hey, it's a live show. I mean, come on. But it's an adventure. We're just flipping through here. I can't review it. I haven't read it. We're just taking a quick look. So it's always nice to have people in chat as well. So collector addiction. You know what I think part of it was that we were always looking for stuff we could steal from one system to plug into another. I think that had a lot to do with it. I'll tell you one game system that I would love to take a look at, the new edition that I think just came out. Oh, Paul's even mentioning TSR. And it's from TSR. It's from new TSR. Top Secret. I think Top Secret New World Order has just come out. Yeah, I had Star Frontiers. I don't recall Alpha Dawn, though. Wasn't that like the second edition of Star Frontiers? It was like Star Frontiers Alpha Dawn or something along those lines. Yeah, I had... When I tell people I've read through probably a few hundred role-playing game books, I'm not joking. I am not kidding. So, okay, so moving right along. Yeah, looks like there's quite a bit of investigation going on in this. So we've got the end of Act 2. Setting the scene. Like I said, the artwork's really cool. It's not like photorealistic as far as it goes. There's a bit of what would I say? I don't want to say lack of focus, sharpness. I guess we'll say there's but that's just the style of the art, and I kind of dig that. Hey, Ghost World's popping in. Hiya, Ghost. 30 minutes late. Well, it's okay. You just watch the video later on when it's done rendering. Gotta remember, show is always, well, I shouldn't say always, because there's times I'm a few minutes late, but 7 o'clock Central is when I basically kick off the show. So, of course, today's just going to be a shorter show because no news today. I'm just kind of paging through the Coriolis Emissary Lost hardcover that has just come out. It's pretty cool. Oh, nice. Wow, I like that. I like that artwork there. The Messenger's Whisper. Doo-doo. Or as that we always used to like to do, we'd go like... Can't even... Oh, gosh, I can't even do it like I used to. Just be able to do like that weird, kind of like science fiction sound. Hey, are you going to review Warhammer 4th Edition starter set when it comes out? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I have a great relationship with Dom and JT over at... No, I'm sorry. It's not TJ. God, I forget what he yeah, it is TJ, isn't it? Anyway, I have a good relationship with Cubicle 7. It's just, I gotta ask them ahead of time. I will, you know what? I will reach out and talk to Dom, and they've got somebody new there because John Hodgson moved on and started his own company. So, which John had reached out and said, hey, we've got some new stuff that's coming out, but it's pretty far down the pike right now. But yeah, I'll reach out and I'll see what they think. So if I remember correctly, I think the 4th edition rulebook review has gotten some decent views with that one guy. No, I'm talking about Dom. I'm talking about Dominic McDowell. I always forget. You know how you go to these conventions and you see people at the very, well, if you go to conventions, at the various different booths and stuff like that, exhibit areas, and they're with a company, but they're not like the boss. So you're always like, oh hey, what's going on? And you don't always necessarily remember. Don't always remember their names. But I swear I want to say it's TC, it's not TJ. But the reason why I'm sitting there saying maybe it's not TC is because my friend Terry Coleman, who did that Traveler board game, which is finally coming out, as far as I understand, I think it's finally getting out to some of the Kickstarter backers. His nickname's TC, so I'm like, is that why I'm thinking TC? All right, so now we get into, I was going to say, I thought this is maybe the appendix here. Oh, there's a bonus scenario. There we go. It looks pretty short bonus scenario. Looks like it's mainly pre-gens, too. Looks like, yeah, that's really short. Looks like most of that was pre-gens. Oh, that's another cool piece of artwork here. Well, I guess the adventure's a little bit longer. This is what the little bonus scenario, I should say. So I have to laugh about back in the day when you would go and you would purchase your Advanced Dungeons and Dragons modules and things like that. 32-page adventure was like, wow, that's a good amount of content. Then it would be like, wow, this one's 64 pages. Holy cow! Now, if you pick something up, it's 32 pages. Granted, as a PDF, you're not going to feel like you're getting gypped. But now, if you pick something up and it's 32 pages, people would be like, "What? Really? That's it?" Okay, so I may pick up Coriolis I'm not really feeling Starfinder. I think Starfinder's okay. I would say, let me switch cameras real quick. Anyway, so that is Coriolis, Emissary Lost. $40.05 on the Free League Publishing website. You know what? Let me take a look. Let me take a quick peek at drive-through and tell you what the MSRP on the PDF is. I don't know if this is part of the up to 75% off sale though. So let me take a look. All right, come on. Hey, I'm not joking when I said I was running around all day and was not able to get a lot of this stuff done. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, I just want to pull it up to see because right now you can get the core book, which is normally $25. You can get it for $6 and it's either $6.25 or $6.75. And of course, drive-through sites, they just switched over to a different server. And I'm telling you, they need to iron this stuff out because drive-through RPG is a mess right now. Yeah, see, it's not even coming up. That's too bad. All right, so yeah, I reviewed the core book last week. I like it. Starfinder, I was impressed what Paizo did, because honestly, Paizo could have just sat there and said, "Oh yeah, well it's Pathfinder in space, man. We don't need to do anything new," and they just still sold a ton. So I have to admit that I was impressed that Paizo put as much original thought into it than they did. So I think it's if you were looking for that kind of Spelljammer kind of vibe, well, ish, then Starfinder was probably a good pickup for you. But if you were looking for more hard science fiction or even kind of space opera-ish science fiction role playing, no, that wouldn't actually be it. So Nefarious says grab the core book and the expansion as a package deal when it first hit. There is a package deal right now over on the Free League website for Emissary Lost and the core book. I did just see that as well. Yeah, drive-through was down. Yeah, it was down for about 2 days, and even now it's still not working out too well. So I'm sure the gang over at drive-through are kind of thinking, did we make a mistake by changing to a day? Obviously it's a different server that they're on, so it's a different hosting company they probably switched over to, or they went with their own servers. So, all right, yeah, Frontier Space. That was kind of the modern Star Frontiers that this gentleman had put together, because there was like a whole website. I think he was doing like a quarterly little magazine for it as well. So anyway, yeah, Campos Atlas Compendium is for $2.62. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's what I'm saying. Right now, you can get 75% off over at Drive-Thru RPG, up to, I should say, on Coriolis and some of the supplements that are out there. And of course, if you do that, I will remind you once again, please stop by thegaminggang.com. Click on one of our drive-through banners. Doesn't have to be for what you're looking for. And if you do make a purchase, you get a little portion of that sale, and it all adds up. All right, so that is it for today's show. As I mentioned on tomorrow's show, I will be reviewing Scorpius Freighter from my pals over at AEG. So we're gonna keep like the science fiction vibe going. So as I like to point out, when you are not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please stop by thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Well, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I will be back tomorrow. Won't have to run around as much tomorrow. I'm positive I'm not going to have to run around as much as I did today. So we'll have some news tomorrow too. Anyway, but until then, as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.